If you've stumbled upon this video, you might be like me and you might like to read. Hey, what's up, bookworms? Mike back to talk a little BookTube birthday, guys, because this is year number 3 for me on the channel. Yes, 3 years ago this morning, I went ahead and uploaded just a brief introduction for what I wanted this channel to be. It's been kind of amusing to go back and look at it now, and not just how much the channel has changed, but kind of look back and see what my original plans were. If you guys have been here a long time, you've heard this story by now. But, last year when I hit year number 2, I kind of talked about advice. A lot of people ask me, hey, what are some things you could tell people just getting started with this? With this one, I'm going to kind of go back and look at, how I got started with this, what my original plans were, and going back and looking at my very first video and just seeing, did I stick to what my original mission statement was? But if you've missed my origin story for this, this was never meant to be a BookTube channel. This was something that I was going to do on the side. I was a big podcaster at the time. I decided it was going to be a good opportunity for me to branch out the YouTube channel here and try to talk about, the things that I like to do on my spare time, and pretty much with all my spare time, and that is read. And obviously things in life changed. My podcast partner, was, getting married, having babies, and, buying a house, all that stuff, and just was like, didn't have the time for it anymore. So every week we kept feeling like we were just putting things off and off, and we were just like, look, let's take a break. Let's just try other things. And, if we want to come back later, we can. And it's great. Me and Danny are still great friends. We still talk all the time. We have a text thread going, on and on and on about anything that's going on in the world. But with this channel, I originally was not going to be like a BookTube channel. I had started making some videos of Wheel of Time, like video diaries, if you will. Because I was reading Wheel of Time for the first time, and I said, this is a long series. I don't want to forget stuff. So instead of taking notes, let me just make like a little video journal so I can always go back to and refer to be like, okay, did that happen in this book or that book, or with this character? Who is this? Stuff like that. It's kind of something I just kind of did for fun. But I went ahead and uploaded those videos to the YouTube channel, which was Geek Media Corps back then. And little did I know that it was going to have like a huge audience. And I was going back each day and I was like, oh, this has like 5 times the views our podcasts usually do. So it was really, really wild to me. So that's kind of how it got started. Never really meant for this to be a BookTube channel. So happy accidents do happen. Now, as for why do I do this? Well, guys, it's just one of those things where I didn't feel like there was anyone I knew in real life who read what I read. Everyone I knew either did not read, they did the what are you reading for kind of thing, or they were just like, wait for the movie. Or if they did read, it was never fantasy, sci-fi, or horror. It was never one of those things. So while I went back to school later in life here, and I was taking all my classes at home while staying home with the kids, wife went back to work, and it was one of those things where I was like, I want to see if I can find some people to talk to about these things that I'm reading. And that was where I met the Wheel of Time community. So it was a really interesting process for me, really. But it's just wild, guys, how many people find it weird if you're reading a book. There are people who are really passionate about it, but it gets treated a lot even by people I know that are like, why are you reading? Like, what am I reading? Why am I reading? Or what am I reading? Why are you reading? I'm sorry, I don't understand that question. So look, reading always will and always has been my favorite form of entertainment. I always say you can have 3 hobbies at a time. And my 3 hobbies were, obviously TV, like everyone else, video games, like most other people, and reading. And I felt like reading was locked. So I had to choose, was I going to be playing games this week or was I going to be watching TV? And that's always kind of the way that I've done it. You keep 2 of those things, and that way you can keep your wife and your kids happy with your extra time as well. So yeah, it's one of those things that I never looked at reading as like a chore. It was always something I wanted to do because, you can have anything that you want while you're reading in your head. It's the best form of entertainment out there. To me, books are the perfect medium because any actor that you want can play any role. There's no limitations on budget or production company or graphic content, mature content, nothing like that. So obviously, the old statement, a movie in your mind, that applies here. So what I want to do now is I kind of want to go back and look a little more at that original video that I uploaded on this day 3 years ago and see, did I stick to what I originally said it was that I wanted to do? But really, I just wanted to touch ground and say what this show is going to be is just
It could be new books. It could be it's probably going to be mostly old books because, I've got a huge backlog of books that I'm getting into. Basically, I'm just going to read a book. I'm going to do a quick review and talk about it and open it up for any kind of discussion. Most of the books I read, like I said, horror, science fiction, fantasy. That's probably going to be mostly what I talk about. If you guys want to start throwing recommendations at me and stuff like that, I've got a huge backlog I'm going to go through. Like I said, I'm going to start the Wheel of Time series here pretty soon, and that's quite daunting. That's going to be quite a project.
Yes, Wheel of Time was quite the project. It actually took me a little longer than a year. It was one of those kind of things, just barely over a year. I never really intended. I originally had intended to just do like the first 2 books to stay ahead of the TV show, because that's what encouraged me to do it, was just because they were making an adaptation. I made a bet with a friend. I told them if they ever make an adaptation, I'll go ahead and finally read this, and that's when it happened. But obviously, you read those first 2 books, you want to keep going, right? Because Great Hunt, that's just such an awesome book. So I wanted to keep going, but yeah, it was quite the project. But it was one that I think was really a great launching pad for this channel, and it really got me to try a lot of other things, and that just kind of started by talking with you guys. I had never really expected to have this many people talking back to me when I started this. So a lot of these series you see behind me now, I never would have picked up. Like, I'm about to start reading Legend of Dritz. I never would have picked that up without you guys. So engagement always was kind of the plan here. And it's just been kind of like I said, a happy accident. As for the content on the channel, did I stay true to that original plan?
The content on this will probably be pretty rapid as compared to most reading channels. I'm not going to set any time limits or anything like that, but I will keep you informed on what I plan on reading next.
Well, I could say 687 videos later, not including the live streams that are no longer on the channel, I think it's safe to say here we are. I have kind of stuck true to saying I was going to put out a lot of content. Never expected to be this much, but also I never really expected to stop doing that podcast at the time when I did create this channel. So it's been a lot of fun for me. Lots of things I have always wanted to talk about, and then of course all the new things that I picked up along the way, stuff that you guys want to hear me talk about and things like that. It's been a lot of fun, really. But yeah, even from the beginning, you can tell in that video, I kind of, what I had really originally planned to do was just each week I was going to kind of do what has become the weekly update. I had just planned to do like a reading vlog, what I'm reading right now, what I'm kind of thinking about this book I'm reading, what I think I want to read next, that kind of thing. What adaptations are they going to be making of some of these books? That's really all it really was. So the fact that it grew from there is kind of impressive, but I am glad that I kept doing the weekly updates, because I think that's the one video each week I feel like it's just fun to do, because it can kind of tell you about everything that's going on, not just about books, about other things that are going on in life and well. It's just like I said, a reading vlog. That's kind of what I originally had planned to start here. So the fact that you can see even from that very first video that I had the idea for the weekly update in mind, that's really cool to kind of go back to. But with me, guys, this whole thing was, I wanted to base this all on a couple of things. Engagement, discussion. I wanted to talk to people about these things. When we were doing the podcast, and here's the thing with podcasting, is one, it's hard to find a foothold in podcasting, because there's a million podcasts out there that sound just like you, act just like you, are the same content as you. It's hard to kind of differentiate yourself there. With video, obviously, you can see, for one thing. I mean, you guys got to see this, but that's a decision that you made. Sorry about that. I can't really change it. I blame my parents, but I wanted to be able to talk to people. And I said with podcasting, we had loyal listeners, and there wasn't exactly a comment section on iTunes. If they didn't tweet you or email you, you had no idea what they were talking about. And I always said, look, I don't ever want to make money off podcasts, and that's not what I'm doing it for. I just do it because it's fun to talk about these things. But I would like people to talk to about this stuff. So when I started doing this and was getting so much feedback, it was really, really just exciting for me, because it's what I always wanted. I just wanted people to talk to about these things that I love. And now it's hard for me to keep up. So thank you guys for that. But the other thing, guys, was I wanted to create a positive community, because as you probably know, things on the internet have gotten quite nasty the past handful of years. And I always said I felt like the internet and social media was the thing that should have brought us together, but all it's done is make us be even further apart, because everyone's just so nasty all the time. But with this channel, I said I want to make it positive. Even if someone leaves a really ugly comment, I'm going to say, hey, I'm sorry it didn't work for you. Thank you for giving me the opportunity, because all I can ask for as a content creator is your time. That's the most valuable thing that you can give me, is your time. So with that, and with the eventual Discord, all I wanted to do was create a positive community for people to talk about these things that we all love. And I feel like I have achieved that for the most part. You know, I know that some people don't like when I post the ugly comments on social media because I think they're funny or whatever. To me, guys, look, again, 99 to 1 is positive on the channel. I do post the over-the-top ones because, again, I find them amusing that someone would spend that much energy to write something just horrible. But, again, it just comes with the territory. So, sorry if that really bothers some people. It's never really my intent. It's funny. I want to share funny things. As for my experience over these 3 years with the content creator overlords, that's been ups and downs, obviously. Like the channel has grown way faster than I ever could imagine. I think my goal for this channel overall when I started was 5,000 someday. I wanted to have 5,000 subscribers. So obviously, you know, we just hit 67. So I think that we're okay in that regard. But it was never really about channel size. Like I said, positive community engagement and things like that. But as far as with the overlords, they changed the algorithm so much. It's hard to really just kind of focus on anything there because every time you think you got it figured out, they change it. So there's been some ups and downs with things of that. I'm kind of currently in a downswing or whatever. But again, I'm thankful for the relationships that I've made since doing this. There's lots of people, like I say, on the Discord that I will probably never ever meet in my life, and I consider them real life friends because we talk so much on there. And you know, it's gotten to the point where we talk about like what's going on with our families and our kids and our jobs and things like that because we've just become actual friends, you know, I think. And of course, fellow content creators. I've met so many great content creators. And one thing I said I was never going to do in this channel is I would never, ever say anything nasty about another content creator because, guys, you don't know how much courage it takes, especially when you consider that most bookworms are kind of introverts. So how much courage it takes to turn on that camera and talk to it. It takes a lot. So I would never, ever detract from another content creator. So that's something that I feel like has always been a mission statement for me from day one. I will never say anything bad about another content creator. And, you know, I would encourage them to do the same because I think it's just the professional thing to do. And knowing what a content creator has to go through to do these things, you know, you're not just talking about, you know, the pre-production, the post-production, and then the actual event. It's a lot. You know, so that's just something I always wanted to kind of do, and getting to meet some of these other content creators and, you know, help them the best that I can and learn from them the best that I can. I've learned plenty of things from other content creators. When I was first getting started, there was some bigger booktubers, I'm sure you guys know by name, who helped me out. You know, they gave me a lot of tips and advice. I mean, hell, Murphy Neighbor helped me pick out a camera, you know? So, I mean, there's lots of people. It's a loving community. It really is. I know a lot of people think there's like a lot of, you know, off-screen drama and things like that. There's some of that, especially when you've got age gaps in some of these things. But for the most part, guys, it's been just a brilliant community to be a part of. And those people as well are people that I would consider real life friends at this point, even if we probably most likely will never meet. You know, in the age of Zoom and, you know, FaceTime, what more do you need to do? Do you have to be in the same room to consider someone a real life friend? I mean, I don't think so. But again, that's just me. I'm glad to have found this community that has been created here. And again, all these other content creators. And yeah. Again, I can't thank you guys enough for what you've helped this channel become because without you guys, I would just be talking to myself. And I do that plenty. You know, I swear I'm not hearing voices or anything yet. But again, I always do appreciate the feedback from you guys. I always like to listen to my audience, like I always say. And that includes criticism. You know, one of the things that I recommend to people a lot is don't take criticism personally. Most times they're just trying to give you some feedback. You know, like I remember when I first started the channel, and my intro was like a minute plus long. And someone was like, what are you doing with this long intro? And at first I was like, what do you know? And then I was like, no, that makes a lot of sense. If I'm watching that, I'm turning that off, you know? So things like that, you know, it's not always negative to look at, you know, constructive criticism. So there's always things to be learned, guys. I mean, starting year number 3, I'm still learning things all the time. I'm still tweaking my lighting. I'm still tweaking my sound. I still learn new things about this camera I had no idea about. There's still things in my editing software I don't know how to use, and I would like to continue to learn things. So you're never quite perfect at this BookTube thing, but I do appreciate all the support that you guys have given me over the first 3 years. I hope I can keep you around. I see right now if we have a goal, let's see if we can get to 5 years and you guys aren't bored of me yet. I think that would be my own personal goal is, you know, if you guys want to stick around that long. So I've had a blast these 3 years. I can't wait to see what the future holds, and I hope that you guys will remain to be a part of it. So thank you very much. It is a great day to have a BookTube birthday. Year number 3 is officially in the book. So guys, something I wouldn't mind hearing from you in the comments is, how did you discover the channel? How long have you been here? Have you been here since I had like 300 subscribers? I mean, that would be awesome to hear about. You know, anything that you guys want to talk about, what brought you to the channel, what made you stay, are you new, have you been here a while, any of those things, guys. There is no wrong answers with a discussion like that. So hit me in the comments, guys, and I will talk to you there.